That's hard. I'm not a mathematician. I'm I just make sure streams. I get paid to make sure streams don't go down and fix Wi-Fi. It's important in these streets. I have a I have a new coworker who was a beta tester for WoW. So I told him if you have any contacts, tell them to put the 3 expansions up permanently in Classic WoW, please and thank you. I'm like, please, just leave it. Here you go. You want your bang. You want your bang for your buck. $15. You get all this. You get retail up to, except for the current one. You get classic era. You get the mid era, and then you get the modern era. That's I. Boom. It really is. It, Lich King was peak. That's all I gotta say. Lich King was peak. I mean, to be fair, I won't lie. I'm kind of excited for Mr. Pandaria because that I didn't like it, but I'm like, you know what? It's special. That was the whole thing. It was the first time where it's almost like, hey, what if we just tried something different? It was it was the first time where it felt goofy. It just felt goofy, but I was like, it's grown on me. BOA is still the worst expansion of all time. BOA was so bad. Battle Azeroth was so bad. Enough WoW talk. You know, if you played the last thing on WoW, if you ever played WoW, if you started WoW in 2004 and played all the expansions, it would only in 20 years or 30 years, 20 years, it only cost you. The total cost for everything would be about $4,000 Canadian. So I don't know what that is in American. Dude, I feel like that's the whole thing is when you say that, I'm like, I don't think that's as bad as it sounds. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think divide by 20, divide 104. Yeah, 139 and 35 cents a month or a year. So yeah, 1161 a month if you started from zero. So it's about the cost of it's less than the cost of like a modern sub at 50. So it's about 50, yeah, so it's the cost of a sub a month. Like, right, right. Because the funny thing, and we were because me and my coworker is excited for Kingdom Deliverance 2, and I was looking at him. No, I think it's one of those single player role RPG games. It was free on Steam or Epic like during Christmas or something. First one was, but like they only have 2 editions, and it's $20 price difference. But the gold edition, all you're doing is they just include like the battle pass or not the DLC stuff included. It's like, oh, $20, you get this cosmetic and you get the expansion pack. Yeah, that's what Borderlands does. Yeah, that's what Borderlands. I apart from how they butchered Wonderlands, that was the nice thing. Is like no matter what the higher edition was, I think it was $10 and then $20. I think I paid the $80 one, and that was fine for what it was. And plus, those games usually have enough content for you if you're paying like $100 or $80 for them, like whatever the price is. You're gonna get more. The hours you're gonna get, especially for how long those games you can make those games. Like The Witcher's a prime example. Like you can get 100 hours out of those easy. Yeah, there you go. Yes. Yes. Let's get to the wild card weekend because I think that's more entertaining. Yeah. Oh, unfortunate update for you because I opened Epic. There is a 10 gig update for Fortnite. It's more of just like, hey, just so you're aware, hey, just so you're good. Heads up there, Chief. Heads up. You want to the Commanders? You want to know what's funny? Is someone made the comment? I think it was Joe Cladd made the comment that the point differential in the opening round of the NFL was the same as the opening round for the college football playoffs. Mm, they're so bad. I think the only and they're like, well, they're talking about they might switch it to winning percentage or something. I'm like, I don't even think it's a winning percentage thing. Hmm? Seeding, and I'm like, yeah, because they were. I guess people were upset that like the Rams were the home team for over the Vikings and all that. No, because my whole thing is I'm more of a. I think the biggest issue is I think the NFL has a problem of teams that compile wins in a bad way, where it's like they get off to such a hot start that apart from like an abysmal collapse, they're not going to make the playoffs. And like I'm like the Steelers are a prime example. Like the Steelers were not a playoff team at all, but they compiled so many wins early on that there was like they started off so hot that there's no way no one's going to catch them because they were so good in the beginning, and then the true color showed and they suck. Right? It's not like the Broncos where it's like the Broncos were probably a borderline team from the rip, and this is kind of what you were going to get. Like if anything, if anything, the only team that kind of got screwed out of it was probably the Bengals, because I think the Bengals in there would have been a better show, a better show. So, but it's like realistically, it was just like that was the only thing. I'm like, yeah, the Steelers shouldn't be here, and the Bengals should have been in. I, you know what I wonder, and this is I don't know if it's just me, but I think the biggest thing isn't so much the scheduling problem. I think the problem is like maybe you were right where it's like teams that like are like okay like Niners for instance. The Niners were the last place team in the West in the AFC in the NFC West. They're going to get probably a very good draft pick and fully healthy. They're probably going to go next year. They will probably have what 3 or 4 losses, and just dominate the competition. And they're gonna they're gonna bull them. They're gonna destroy them. Yeah, so it's like you're. So I don't even know it's that I. It, yeah, and the whole thing is I don't even think it's necessarily like oh they're cupcake schedules. It's like the teams that are injury riddled, like the good teams that just had injuries, where it's like they know how to draft, they know it, like they know that they can like oh pick up this guy here and there. Like those teams benefit so much because they're already good. Like no one's looking at the Niners next year and probably like oh they're gonna struggle. No, they're gonna win. They're gonna be like 13-4 next season and bully everyone. Mhm, mhm, mhm. No. Yep. Yeah, they're gonna go like 14-3. Yeah, and the Colts, like the Colts are a coin. The whole thing is like the Colts are a coin toss. Depending on what they happen, they'll be muddling. I'm sure. So that'll but it's like yeah, they're gonna go 13-3, like 13-4, 14-3. It's gonna like they're gonna dominate. They have nothing because the injuries, and they're a good team. They're gonna know how to draft. And they're like they're not going to be as injured. They won't go through the injury shit they had this year. They're going to dominate and just steamroll everyone. And Brock Purdy's going to look like a goddamn MVP again. Mm-hmm. Or easier on paper. But it's like because like the Bengals too. Weren't the Bengals last in their division? No, this year too, right? Because the Browns were. Because it's like even like okay, because like even they're gonna have like a cupcake schedule just because of like where they are, and like regardless if they keep Higgins or not, which who knows, they should keep him. I think. Oh, I think Burrow is very pro both those guys because he's in the great position of like they double one, the other one's open, and it sure. And I don't know if this is between them as well. I don't think Jamar Chase nor T Higgins care if the other one gets the load because they're doing. And I'm like because they're doing their job. It's like they care about me that the other good guys open and vice versa. Uh huh. Oh, 1,000%. It's like you don't screw that up. Just like they need to sit down and be like, hey, let's just take a pay cut and win because we're in such a good position. Yeah. Oh, that's right. The Niners play the Colts in Berlin. That's right. Yeah, it's the Colts 2025 schedule could wind up including first ever game in Berlin. Because I know the Colts are there. They already announced that. Yep. I went into a rant with Bryce in two different places about him, and I'm like, stop saying he's good. I don't think. Here's the thing with Justin Herbert, and this is my point that Bryce couldn't grasp. The man had. This is my entire point. I go. He had Austin Eckler, top 15 at worst running back. Evans, again, top 15 wide receiver at probably at worst. Or Keenan Allen, top 15 wide receiver. Mike Williams, probably injured a lot, but when he's on, that dude's a great number 2 wide receiver. He couldn't do jack diddly shit with those guys. I watched that Jags game when the Jags came back, and we can blame the coaching, but A lot of that's on good old Justin Herbert because that man just shut down the second half. And that was sort of my point. Is I'm like, you can't look at both these games and say, "Oh, it's not his fault; it's his receivers." Where it's like, brother, he can't. No matter what they want to say, like, "Oh, they're hiding a crappy quarterback in Bo Nix." I watched enough Saints games where I'm like, "Nah, that's just that's Peyton, dude. He loves them stupid bubble screens to his running back. That man's gonna draft. Yeah, that man's gonna draft like Genty probably and turn him into like another Alvin Kamara with how fast he is. If he drops that far, but if he drops that far, like 100%, that's I don't think he's gonna drop that far. He should, but he probably won't. Because, but it like it'd be one of those things where it's such a fit because of how fast he is. Because that's what he had in New Orleans was like these incredibly fast receivers that are bowling balls, and he's both of them. And it's like you're not. I don't think they're trying to hide that he's a bad quarterback. I think that's just Sean Payton. Whereas like Justin Herbert, he has to throw the ball deep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I the only thing, and it was sort of the like we were talking about Saturday night where I'm like, and I know Brett's like, well, Peyton Manning didn't do it. I go, bro, do you not understand how many people will still to this day talk shit about how bad Manning was in the postseason? Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you. Where it's stuff like that. But the whole thing, and this is the unfortunate thing, and I think this is where the Chargers might find themselves, is you're sort of forced to pay your quarterback a shit ton of money, and then just cross your fingers that it works. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm so like, if you don't think it's gonna work with AR, get rid of him. Well, that's why I laugh. Where that's why I'm laughing. Where they're like, "Yeah, we'll bring competition." And Richardson's like, "Yeah, I'm all for it. Give me competition." I'm like, "Yeah, because you stupid little shithead, were coasting by because you know they were gonna, Joe Flacco wasn't a threat." No, well, the whole okay. Like from my perspective, I'd much rather I personally in any sport, I much rather have the player that's there who's like the guy or the starter be like, "Yeah, bring in competition, do it," than him being like, "Oh, like that's just my attitude because it's like that was my attitude playing. It's like give me someone who's it's like give me the little chihuahua who's gonna be at my ankles and have me like keep myself going. Like give me that person. Because like I get the whole like, oh, veteran who's gonna teach you sort of thing, and that like Joe Flacco, like that motherfucker knows what he's here for. Well, that's why it's like I laugh where it's like, oh, they're gonna get Kirk Cousins, and it's the same situation. It's like go draft like Quentin Ewers, go draft one of these college kids who can come in there and be like, what are you talking about? I played in a playoff atmosphere in these giant stadiums already. What bowl is you playing? Oh, right, like the Texas Alamo Bowl in Nantucket. Yes, I think he did, didn't he? I think he played in one. If not, I think so. And if he didn't, he was always at like one of the higher bowls. I think he played against Utah in the. I was gonna say he played against Utah in the Rose Bowl, but that wasn't the case because of the stupid thing. I think he played in like, but even still, like because of Oregon's record at like even one or two losses, like they're still playing in those higher bowls. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Like if you think you like the whole thing, I don't see like personally. I get it. There's recon like there's reacclimation projects where it's like, oh hey, this guy let's see we can fix him. Like that just pissed me off with Frank Wright, like doing that with like three different guys. It's like Philip Rivers, it clearly worked. Carson Wentz, it wasn't the best, but it was working. Matt Ryan was fucking playing into the Twin Towers. I think they can, but it has to be one of those things where it's like where it have to be like the Sam Darnold situation where it's like you're with the coach that teaches you something like fixes the flaw so you can see it, so you can adjust to it. And even then it's like you're sort of putting you might be putting makeup on a pig. No. I I mean I'm a USC I'm a USC guy. However, I wonder if the nerves got to him and he just couldn't calm himself down because every pass he made was bad. It wasn't like, oh, it got away from him. It's like it was like he got in his own head and nothing anyone could say was like calming him down. And that was the problem. Yeah. So hopefully like if the Vikings do re-sign him, it's one of those things like because you see with young quarterbacks all the time where it's like their first like real taste of playoff football, they kind of get spooked. So hopefully, so I'm so the whole thing is like I know he's not young, but it's one of those things where he doesn't have the experience where it's like, oh, maybe the light it was like that Kobe White thing, the lights were just too bright, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, they paid something. I don't know if he'll be in Minnesota. Yeah. Someone will sign him. It might be the Colts. I said before, not that I care, because I'm not a Colts fan, clearly. But I jokingly said if they want to sign Darnold, Juju Smith-Schuster, and bring back the old SC club to Indianapolis, I wouldn't complain. I think that'd be the funniest goddamn thing ever. And the best part is, like, theoretically, it might work because he's got his two bros right there that he played with who were discussing with him. Juju in that slot with Pierce on the outside, and puts, like, it moves, it makes, it kind of makes Pierce, and like, you run 4 wide receiver sets. Drop that tight end that they keep saying. I'm like, hey, fuck it. You know what? If we're gonna have a year of just screw it, that's the year to say screw it. Varsity Blues this shit, Mm-hmm. Because realistically, because they have the cap room, so it's like they could draft a Quinn Ewers like second or third round, because that's probably where he should go. If not, so then he's your third. You have those two guys go at it, and then you can still draft, like, if you need a safety, because I saw like a mock draft where it's like, oh, they might get a tight end to help them a little bit in the passing game and stuff. So it's like, okay, you can accomplish all 3 of those things, and even in free agency, like, Juju Smith-Schuster wouldn't cost that much. I don't think Darnold's going to cost an arm and a. Yeah, he'd be a minimum, like 1 year minimum. Darnold, who knows how much it might cost? I would say 2 years. 2 years, like, pay a little bit more, 2 years 30 with like a little bit more of a signing bonus, and then an option third year, just as, like, whatever, or like team option year 1, player option year 2. So then it's like, yeah, that's what I would probably do, is, and then just give it a bigger bonus up front. So it's like, it ends up being like 3 years, let's say 3 years 75 or something. But it's a 25. You get 25 he's a 25 signing bonus, and the first year's like 15 or something. So then he's getting, like, then he gets like a quarter of it. Then so then if it's like, oh, it's cut, he still got that first year. He still got like $30 million. Yeah, just front load it and be like, hey, if it doesn't work, hey, you got your pay, because I think the Colts have like one of the highest cap spaces available. I think, especially in the NFL, it's so absurd. What was funny? What What was funny is I saw a clip today of Chris Rose on his baseball show where he's talking about football guys were baffled at the amount of money like Juan Soto made, the $750 million. And he's like, how does that work? Like, they're like, I don't understand it. Even like the guy's name, he's like, hey man, that's not my job. Do I think it's fair? Not really, but it's not my job to care. I have to play right field for the Phillies, which makes me laugh because we were talking about. I know we're talking about baseball, not football, but we were talking about this because we were talking, like, we have another, like, Japanese import who's probably going to sign with the Dodgers again. And I was making the comments that this CBA strike is going to be huge in a couple of years, because I'm telling you, if the players aren't going to be livid with this shit, the other owners are, and I think this might be a very rare situation where the majority of the players are going to want this shit to stop. Because because the funny part, because what, and this is the funny thing where I was sort of, and everyone's like, and they're the contrarians were like, oh, it's the owners, you need to put a salary floor in so they can pay him, and I'm like, it's not even a salary floor thing. I said it's just like, it's everything with, like, it's basically the free market bullshit where it's like the top 1% have set, like, they always say, like, oh, the top 1% control 98% of the wealth or whatever that nonsense is. Like, I don't necessarily think we're that bad, but it's the whole thing of, like, these guys who are like the exceptions to the rule who blow this shit out of the water. Like, that's the problem. And I'm not saying you don't have to necessarily cap it, but I'm like, can we raise the floor a bit here? Because like that's my whole thing. No, I'm with you. If they were to be, if they were to do, if they were to bring the NBA, if they were to bring that, though, like that structure to the baseball for some of these guys, it would be fantastic. Somewhat, yeah, yeah. I'm all for it. Like I'm all for it, but I get it where it's like, oh, the roster's too big, so it might not be the same construction. But I like the I like the idea that guys who like Paul Skeens is going to be a prime example. Paul Skeens, disgusting. Like that guy's going to be paid. Will be underpaid for probably. Will be underpaid for 3 years, more than likely. Yeah, like 3 years underpaid. Like, and I get it. Like even in the NBA, I think it's the same thing. Like they're kind of, like, is it 3 years before they get their first? They can get their first deal. Okay. Or whatever it is. So like, because my whole thing is like, I'm like, why can't they? I think they should bump up the league minimum to like 1.5 or something. Like once your rookie contract, if that's like under like 950k, that's fine. It's the first one because it's like it kind of gets funky at that point anyway. Because a lot of times you're not up. Yeah, I think that needs to be like like just under $1 million. Oh, but it's like for the like first year, that's fine. I think like once you're past it, it's like, hey, you get 1.5, and then it stays at 1.5, and then it increases or something. I think that's the equalizer in baseball. Yeah, I think that's the equalizer. It's like, hey, you get $10 million signing bonus. Oh, you don't get shit. You get fucked for 6 or 7, depending on how your thing works. The arbitration process is kind of annoying. I don't like it. I'm like, just it's like what they need to do is just be like, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm like, just have it kick in. Or like, I like the 4 years of three. I would say 3 years. 3 years. You negotiate. You negotiate a contract or something. I think the 6 years just doesn't make sense. Or at least have it, or be like, hey, if you're 29, you can opt out or something. So like, you get to try free agency if you choose. You just agent. You're well 30 with yeah 30 is not. You get one contract, maybe two, depending. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would think. But again, I don't understand. I have a like I said, I have a funny suspicion you're gonna get like a major strike because of this, and I think it's mainly gonna be over deferred money and not like and the whole and the whole thing with deferred money is I don't even think I like people are like, well, like Ken Griffey Jr. is making $6 million on the Reds roster in deferred money. Like, there's a difference between $6 million that you probably negotiate at the time because it's like, oh, you can't. Is I mean, we and I talked about. It's like that's just a retirement money. Like $6 million, like every year, like in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. Yeah, I'm like like Bobby Vinny is like 1 point something. I think there's a couple other guys where it's like 5 or 6 million. I'm like that's nothing compared to like a guy getting 70 at the end of like for the end till the end of time. Like $6 million like a year. I'm like he's probably not spending it anyway, so it's probably being dumped to account that he's not going to use anyway. So it's different. Is stolen by his translator. Totally not, and he's totally not a degenerate who gambles. Rest in peace. I'm with you. You didn't gamble as a player. That's the best part. Is he never gambled as a player? I think that's hilarious. That's what you remember what Pete Rose said when the Otani stuff broke. He was like, "Shit, all I need was a translator." I'm like, see, this man knows degeneracy when he sees it. We don't need to talk. I don't think we need to talk. Well, we'll transition back to football again. I don't think we need to talk Vikings or Steelers Ravens because I've never seen them. I watched half that game because we were recording at that point, but that first half was a shit show for Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin's, yeah, he's cooking something. Yeah. The Danger Witch would come back. Uh, ooh, spicy. It's not even spicy. And then this week, do you think the Texans will rise above and beat the Chiefs? Yeah. By the way, the curse wheel cursed the Rams. It was almost on the Chiefs. Almost. Every week I hope that goddamn curse wheel gets the Chiefs. I hope so. Because every playoff run I've had when my team doesn't make it, I'm just a Bills fan. I got permission from other Bills fans to do this because as the I asked a girl first. I said, "Hey, I'm jumping on the team as a fan of a fellow animal team." And she goes, "That's fine. Animal clause, we're good. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Animal clause, hell yeah." Yeah. Oh, see, there we go. We're good. Anyone in that realm, we're all on the same team. Animals. So we're good on that front. Uh, God, if they lose, like if the Bills lose, God, that's sad times. If that's the Super Bowl and it's like a disgustingly good game, I'll be fine. Because like because the whole thing is, I was gonna say if and for both those teams, so, honestly, where it's like the Bills who have the ghost of four Super Bowls, four straight Super Bowl losses, the Lions who've never been, like it would be one of those things where like I as dumb as it sounds, I think both fan bases would be like, hey, whoever wins, like they'll be happy and be like, hey, like someone's tragedy ends here, and just be like, it'll be trauma bonding before the Super Bowl, but in it'll just be like, it would be like bring out like Kelly and and Barry, and it's just like, all right. I would, I would, I would want to just stab my eyes out. I would want to stab my eyes out with a fork if that happened. It wouldn't even be the Kelsey brothers playing. That's the funny part. It'd just be their podcast. Mind you, the funny part is I love I really do like New Heights. I think it's great. Yeah, he was on. The funny part is, and the thing is like, I don't know if it's just me, but I think because Jason and Travis are just likable guys, and I think that's the thing. Like, I was at a bar last week, and they had Jason's late night show on, and we're like, who? And we're like, who the hell watches this? And I'm like, I get it, but it's like, I'm like, I get it. Yeah. Yes, I agree. No, that's my whole thing. Is I'm like, you got two guys who are likable for the like they're just no the whole no, you know what it is, it's because both of them you could see sitting in a bar on a Sunday afternoon if they weren't playing football and just drinking beer watching. Mhm. and yell obscenities at the yell obscenities at the television. Like, I could totally see Jason if he got like hurt in college or wasn't drafted. He'd be like, I used to block shit like this when I would like. He'd be that guy. Yeah, yeah. You're just like, God damn it, shut up, Jason. Got to put your hand in the dirt. He'd be kind of like Mark Schlereth, but a little less rough around the edges. Yeah, I saw an awful announcing. He had his football his team on Fox is the worst was the worst ranked color combination for football. No. Because he calls games on Fox, so they rank all the like the teams, like the cult. So he was the worst one. Yeah, he was the worst one. He was the worst. He was the worst TV. He was the worst one. Don't worry, Tom Brady and what's his face were like 14 or something. I don't think Mark Schlereth necessarily bad or anything. See, but you know what the problem is, and I this has always been my thought is I'm like the guys who are at the bottom of those lists who get the crappy games, I'm like they don't have a chance to sign because no one's watching these guys. No one's watching them. Like, what do you expect? Like, who's watching the game Mark Schlereth's calling? Oh God, what did Jalen Green do? Did he? Who the hell is who the fuck? Who's number? Oh, is that? Wait, who's number 9 for you guys? Is it a? Oh, it's that crappy center we were talking about. No, it's not Jordan. It's some white guy. Who's that crappy center you guys have? Sorry, yeah, he got posterized here. But yeah, he got posterized by Jalen Green. God, you guys, man, you guys are losing bad. 93-72. Jesus Christ. Uh huh. Oh, gotcha. No, gotcha. 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 Understood. Shut up. No, he's not. So you were talking about Draymond Green. I was like, I wanted to see the combinations that people voted on. As I'm scrolling, I see Draymond Green reportedly eyeing media gigs amid Warrior struggles. Unfortunately, unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have no idea. It's just I think they're just sort of like saying like, "Oh, he'll go there," and I'm like, because I don't. I think people have in their head like, "Oh, Jimmy will fix the Warriors," and I'm like, mm-hmm. Yeah, well, sour. See, here's what See, here's my dream thing. It'd be my dream thing is Draymond gets traded for Jimmy because I think that'd be hilarious. Because I want to see, I want because the video that would surface of him fighting Udonis Haslam would be my magnum opus. Would be the greatest thing ever because I would the amount of content you could get from that bullshit would be hilarious because both of those guys have podcasts and they will both openly talk shit on each other. I need this to happen more than anything, and ultimately would involve the waving of Draymond Green. Like the funny thing is for a while, Udonis Haslam really was the guy where it's like a fight break. All right, you do go punch him in the face. Yep, yep, yep. I'm like, go come on, go fight. Come on, bare knuckle bro, let's go. The whole thing is he'd have to go to I would figure he'd go to a team that was like I don't even know. Like I said, the Lakers would be I think would be a funny fit. I think he might actually help them to a certain degree. But that's the whole thing. Is like the teams where I could see it kind of be a fit would be like LA would be I think a decent fit. I think the Mavericks would be a decent fit. Denver maybe it would help a little bit, but I think it's the money thing. Just defensively, it's like it's the money thing. Well, yeah, because because the Lakers on local radio here, they're talking about like they kind of like the idea. Everyone's sort of like because we have Michael Thompson's on one of the radio shows, former Lakers legend, and they're talking about like, hey, huh? Yeah, and they were talking about like, oh, what like they really like the idea of like the Lakers trading for DeAndre Fox or De'Aaron Fox. It's like it would be it's like perfect fit. But the whole thing is like when you're talking about guys give up, they're like, oh, both Reeves and Kennard, and then like Rory and all like couple picks. I'm like that. And even Tom's like that's a lot for this guy. And he's like, I like the guy. It's like that's so many assets for him. And I'm like, why do these guys make trades? Because like all these trades just seem like these lopsided, nonsensical trades. Where it's like I'll give up one of them, but I'm like, is it like if that's the problem, we need to fix the money thing because this is insane. If it's taking that many guys to get like someone like that, yeah, yeah, exactly. Waiver guys. Hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Same. Well, or see, and I've wondered this because in the back of my head, I think it could happen. Would be one of those weird situations where it's like LeBron tells Lakers like, "Hey, I'm gonna retire this year. I want to go back to Cleveland," and it's like a 3-team deal where it's like it lessens the blow for like the Lakers, where it's like LeBron goes back to Cleveland, the Lakers get a young like instead of leaving the team gutless and in ruins, they send him back to Cleveland. They can get they get more picks from like Cleveland or something because they want to title them and all that stuff. Where something like that, where it's like the blow's a little lessened and everyone kind of gets what they want. Like that would be the dream scenario. And I think a lot of fans would be like, yeah, he can send LeBron back to Cleveland. Who gives a shit at this point? But I don't think that'll happen per se. Unless something wild. Although I do think he does go back to Cleveland after this year for one, like the last two Raw. Yeah. That's why that's because I don't know. I sort of wonder. In my head, I'm like, I think it's a matter of time before he goes back for 1 year or half a year. Because I do think he wants to like end it where he started. I don't know. Mhm. That'd be interesting. Well, that would be interesting because I think he would get along with their coach. Honestly. Hmm. Yeah, probably. Who knows? I don't either. Yeah, we can call it. Mhm. Yeah. Do we want to pick? Do we want to pick the games? Chiefs, unfortunately. Bills. Hmm. I won. I won. See, the whole thing is when they say that, I think that's a coin toss. They're like, I think it. I don't even know. I guess I don't. I don't even know what their likelihood is, but I'm like, I get it because it's like, fuck it. Someone flipped a coin and they got. That's what they landed on. Yeah, Detroit. Detroit, and then Rams, Eagles. Am I a homer to say the Rams only because I think they have the power of God and anime on their side? Is that wrong? Am I the homer where I think the power of tragedy will power them through this week? Because I think McVay. Because the whole thing is, I think McVay can outcoach Sirianni. I think that's the thing. Because the whole thing is, I'm like McVay can outcoach him. I think what's his? I think AJ Brown's toast done. I think they're done. I don't think they're. I don't think they can rely on Barkley because I think the Rams defense is too good to put it. Will shut him down. I honestly think, or contain him. That's why I'm like, I think the Rams might do it. And the whole thing is like I said, McVay can outcoach Sirianni, and sometimes like that's what it takes. It's not so much the players. It's like it's mainly just like in the postseason for the most part. I've seen enough where it's not necessarily like the better team wins. It's just the coaches can contain them long enough to where they can get the strike. And I think this is where I think this is where like McVay and Stafford will just pick apart will pick apart Sirianni and Hurts like a jigsaw puzzle. But it might be it's gonna yeah. I'm with you because I think because if they have to lean on Barkley, which I think they are, I think you're going to see the Rams defense really contain it. No, but I'm surprised they honestly didn't. I'm to be fair, I'm really shocked that they didn't try to sign him before the playoffs started. By the way, have I, dude? I was not a Charger fan, but I fucking loved Eric Weddle. Eric Weddle, I loved him. He was like my every. I'm like, I even told my like because Bryce was a Charger fan back in the day. I was like, I hate the Chargers, but I love that Eric Weddle felt. That man's a that man is just a caveman, and I love him. Mm-hmm. Bro, Eric Weddle. I was thinking safeties like bro, Eric Weddle. Like, I mean, for free safeties, Eric Weddle, Bob Sanders. I'm like, oh god, I want those guys back. Like Troy Polamalu. Oh, dude, Brian Dawkins never won. Knew who what was it? I missed the Sheeta B too because that dude was just an animal. Who was the cornerback that stole like fucking Crabtree's chain? Was it Sherman or was it who was the other? There were who was the Broncos guy that came like later on with Manning? Was it to beat Atiq Khalid? I liked him because he was just an asshole. He was just an asshole. But I'm like, I love this. I'm like, I love this guy. This guy would kill someone for his team. Yeah, yeah. It was just yep. I love to leave only strictly for that reason. So I'm like, that man would shoot you and just be like, what do I do? He's great when he's on your team, but he's the man's just got a screw loose. Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure he's just an animal. All right. Bye.